Chapter 5 Season 2 recently came out, which means everyone's ranks just got reset. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over some tips and tricks on how you can rank up super fast in this new season. So without further ado, let's get into this video. For my first tip, I'm going to be going over the best game modes to be playing to rank up the fastest. Out of all the game modes, the best ones to play to gain the most percent is going to be solos and duos. Now this doesn't mean that you will rank up the fastest playing these game modes. What you should be doing is playing the game mode you perform the best in. For example, if you have good teammates and you are dropping 20 kill wins in squads, then stick to squads. Next up is going to be your drop spot. As far as drop spots go, the best places to be landing are places that you know very well. In my opinion, I like to land Lavish Lair and Rebel's Roost. I mainly land at these POIs because I know them very well. The worst thing to do in early game is land somewhere that you've never been to and don't know any gun spawns or chest spawns. This will just lead to you dying. And if you don't have anywhere you know, what I recommend doing is landing somewhere over and over again until you know this POI very well. For my third tip, I'm going to be going over how you should be rotating. I've seen many lower ranked players in mid game and end game that tend to rotate whenever Storm is forcing them to. And they don't rotate in a specific way, they just use the fastest way to get to circle. This is a really bad habit because this can lead to storm fights or people holding you in storm. So what you should be doing instead is rotating dead side. Dead side is essentially the side of the map where least amount of players will be. Another thing with rotating is you never want to give up your advantage. What I mean by this is, if you're closer to zone than other people, but you could easily third party a fight in front of you, go to zone. Because if you are in zone, you can storm camp them and it will be a lot easier to kill them. Moving on to the next tip, I'm going to be going over good guns to be using. For shotguns, you should try to be using the pump shotgun and auto shotgun. The new shotgun is good, but you run out of ammo too quickly. It's just better to have more ammo. For ARs, try to use the new AR. The Nemesis just isn't good compared to the new one. And obviously, the snipers are still OP, so definitely try to have one of them every game. As well as the burst SMG, it's still overpowered, especially if you pair it with the laser sight. For my next tip, stop going for medallions. I don't mean to not use medallions or don't fight people with medallions. What I mean is don't land in the POIs where medallions are. They just aren't worth it this season. They are simply not as good as the last ones, and even if they were good, a lot of teams still land at these POIs for the mythics and the medallions. There's a better chance of winning the game if you land somewhere that's not too chaotic. Moving on to the next tip, mats advantage. In the early game, the best advantage to have is having more mats than your opponent. There's a way higher chance of winning a fight if you have more mats than your opponent, especially if you're in a box fight. You'll have the wall 9 times out of 10 because your opponent doesn't have any mats. Next up is don't use the new wings unless you have to. The new wings are good for mobility, but when using them, it's very easy to get sniped or shot out of the air. The only time you should be using these is when you know you're safe to. You should never use them if you're running away from a fight because you're most likely going to get shot out of the air. The best time to be using them is to go third party a fight. For the last tip in this video, I'm going to be going over good maps to be playing. Good maps to be playing are going to be W Key 1v1. This map starts one player with low HP and the other with a high HP. This map will help you with your offense and defense. Another great map to play is going to be box fight maps. The reason you should be playing box fights is because every single fight you take in game will most likely come down to a box fight. Now that is going to be it for this video, but if you guys like these types of videos, make sure to like and subscribe. And if any of these tips help you, make sure to comment down below. But that's going to be it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one.